Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Punishment for one's actions. You have to face the music. Any agreeable, pleasing and harmonious sounds. He fell asleep to the music of the wind chimes. An artistic form of auditory communication incorporating instrumental or vocal tones in a structured and continuous manner. Musical activity, singing or whistling, etc. His music was his central interest. Music, the sounds produced by singers or musical instruments, or reproductions of such sounds. Treat medicinally, treat with medicine. Punishment for one's actions. Take your medicine. The learned profession that is mastered by graduate training in a medical school and that is devoted to preventing or alleviating or curing diseases and injuries. He studied medicine at Harvard. The branches of medical science that deal with non-surgical techniques. Medicine, something that treats or prevents or alleviates the symptoms of disease. Any agreeable, pleasing and harmonious sounds. The act of punishing. The act of punishing. The act of punishing. The act of punishing. A payment required for not fulfilling a contract. Games, a handicap or disadvantage that is imposed on a competitor, or a team, for an infraction of the rules of the game. The disadvantage or painful consequences of an action or condition. Neglected his health and paid the penalty. Phonetics, an individual sound unit of speech without concern as to whether or not it is a phoneme of some language. Logically valid. A sound argument. Measure the depth of a body of water with a sounding line. The subjective sensation of hearing something. He strained to hear the faint sounds. Make a certain noise or sound. Having legal efficacy or force. A sound title to the property. In excellent physical condition. A sound mind in a sound body. The audible part of a transmitted signal. Of sleep, deep and complete. A sound sleeper. A narrow channel of the sea joining two larger bodies of water. Exercising or showing good judgment. A sound approach to the problem. Utter with vibrating vocal cords. A large ocean inlet or deep bay. The main body of the sound ran parallel to the coast. Announce by means of a sound. Sound the alarm. Appear in a certain way. This sounds interesting. Cause to sound. Sound the bell. Complete. Thorough. Politicians have no sound grasp of technology issues. Financially secure and safe. Sound investments. Free from moral defect. A man of sound character. Give off a certain sound or sounds. This record sounds scratchy. In good condition, free from defect or damage or decay. A sound timbre. Mechanical vibrations transmitted by an elastic medium. Falling trees make a sound in the forest even when no one is there to hear them. The particular auditory effect produced by a given cause. The sound of rain on the roof. The sudden occurrence of an audible event. The sound awakened them. Vigorous or severe. A sound thrashing. The subjective sensation of hearing something. Communication that relies on hearing. An organic process that takes place in the body. Respiratory activity. The state of being active. His sphere of activity. The trait of being active, moving or acting rapidly and energetically. The level of activity declines with age. A process existing in or produced by nature, rather than by the intent of human beings. Volcanic activity. Any specific behavior. They avoided all recreational activity. Chemistry, the capacity of a substance to take part in a chemical reaction. Catalytic activity. An inaudible music that Pythagoras thought was produced by the celestial. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The perception of pleasant arrangements of musical notes. Something that serves as a preceding event or introduces what follows. Music that precedes a fugue or introduces an act in an opera. Play as a prelude. Serve as a prelude or opening to. Music consisting of a single vocal part, usually with accompaniment. Music consisting of a single vocal part, usually with accompaniment. Music consisting of a single vocal part, usually with accompaniment. Prolific Austrian composer and child prodigy. Master of the classical style in all its forms of his time, 1756 to 1791. The music of Mozart. Music adapted to the understanding and taste of the majority. Composer who was born in Russia but lived in the United States after 1939, 1882 to 1971. The music of Stravinsky. Prolific Austrian composer who influenced the classical form of the symphony, 1732 to 1809. The music of Haydn. A verse or song to be chanted or sung in response. Alternate, responsive, singing by a choir in two parts. A body of dancers or singers who perform together. A company of actors who comment, by speaking or singing in unison, on the action in a classical Greek play. Sing in a choir. The part of a song where a soloist is joined by a group of singers. A group of people assembled to sing together. Any utterance produced simultaneously by a group. A chorus of boos. Utter in unison. Yes, the children chorused. Music intended to be performed by a musical instrument or group of instruments. Music produced by playing a musical instrument. A self-contained part of a larger composition, written or musical. He always turns first to the business section. A specialized division of a large organization. She got a job in the historical section of the Treasury. The cutting of or into body tissues or organs, especially by a surgeon as part of an operation. Geometry, the area created by a plane cutting through a solid. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The finance section of the company. A small class of students who are part of a larger course but are taught separately. A graduate student taught sections for the professor's lecture course. Divide into segments. One of several parts or pieces that fit with others to constitute a whole object. A section of a fishing rod. A distinct region or subdivision of a territorial or political area or community or group of people. No section of the nation is more ardent than the South. A division of an orchestra containing all instruments of the same class. A land unit equal to 1 square mile. A segment of a citrus fruit. He ate a section of the orange. A small army unit usually having a special function. A small team of policemen working as part of a police platoon. A very thin slice, of tissue or mineral or other substance, for examination under a microscope. Sections from the left ventricle showed diseased tissue. German composer who developed the Romantic style of both lyrical and classical music, 1833 to 1897. The music of Brahms. An enthusiastic expression of emotion. In ancient Greece, an epic poem adapted for recitation. Music. A free instrumental composition in one extended movement, typically emotional or exuberant in character. An intense or violent exertion. Difficulty that causes worry or emotional tension. She endured the stresses and strains of life. Cause to be tense and uneasy or nervous or anxious. Test the limits of. Become stretched or tense or taut. The rope strained when the weight was attached. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The act of singing. Remove by passing through a filter. Separate by passing through a sieve or other straining device to separate out coarser elements. Use to the utmost. Exert vigorously or to full capacity. Don't strain your mind too much. Biology. A group of organisms within a species that differ in trivial ways from similar groups. A new strain of microorganisms. A special variety of domesticated animals within a species. He created a new strain of sheep. The general meaning or substance of an utterance. To exert much effort or energy. Straining our ears to hear. An effortful attempt to attain a goal. Rub through a strainer or process in an electric blender. Alter the shape of something by stress. Psychology. Nervousness resulting from mental stress. His responsibilities were a constant strain. Injury to a muscle, often caused by overuse, results in swelling and pain. Physics. Deformation of a physical body under the action of applied forces. Exposed to fresh air. The mass of air surrounding the Earth. It was exposed to the air. Travel via aircraft. Air travel involves too much waiting in airports. Exposed to cool or cold air so as to cool or freshen. Air the old winter clothes. A slight wind, usually refreshing. As he waited, he could feel the air on his neck. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. She was humming an air from Beethoven. A distinctive but intangible quality surrounding a person or thing. An air of mystery. Broadcast over the airwaves, as in radio or television. We cannot air this X-rated song. Make public. She aired her opinions on welfare. Medium for radio and television broadcasting. The program was on the air from 9 till midnight. A mixture of gases, especially oxygen, required for breathing, the stuff that the wind consists of. Air pollution. Be broadcast. This show will air Saturdays at 2 p.m. Exposed to warm or heated air, so as to dry. Once thought to be one of 4 elements composing the universe, Empedocles. The region above the ground. Her hand stopped in mid-air. A course of reasoning aimed at demonstrating a truth or falsehood. The methodical process of logical reasoning. I can't follow your line of reasoning. A slight depression or fold in the smoothness of a surface. His face has many lines. Mechanical system in a factory whereby an article is conveyed through sites at which successive operations are performed on it. A connected series of events or actions or developments. Historians can only point out those lines for which evidence is available. The road consisting of railroad track and roadbed. A conceptual separation or distinction. There is a narrow line between sanity and insanity. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. A conductor for transmitting electrical or optical signals or electric power. The principal activity in your life that you do to earn money. He's not in my line of business. Make a mark or lines on a surface. Draw a line. Often plural, a means of communication or access. Lines of communication were set up between the 2 firms. The descendants of one individual. His entire lineage has been warriors. Space for 1 line of print, 1 column wide and 1/14 inch deep, used to measure advertising. A short personal letter. Drop me a line when you get there. A telephone connection. Be in line with, form a line along. Trees line the riverbank. The maximum credit that a customer is allowed. A particular kind of product or merchandise. A nice line of shoes. A pipe used to transport liquids or gases. A pipeline runs from the wells to the seaport. A commercial organization serving as a common carrier. Acting in conformity. In line with. A formation of people or things one behind another. The line stretched clear around the corner. A formation of people or things one beside another. The line of soldiers advanced with their bayonets fixed. A fortified position, especially one marking the most forward position of troops. They attacked the enemy's line. A length, straight or curved, without breadth or thickness, the trace of a moving point. A mark that is long relative to its width. He drew a line on the chart. A single frequency, or very narrow band, of radiation in a spectrum. A spatial location defined by a real or imaginary unidimensional extent. Cover the interior of. Line the gloves. Fill plentifully. Line one's pockets. In games or sports, a mark indicating positions or bounds of the playing area. Mark with lines. Sorrow had lined his face. persuasive but insincere talk that is usually intended to deceive or impress. Let me show you my etchings as a rather worn line. Reinforce with fabric. Lined books are more enduring. Something, as a cord or rope, that is long and thin and flexible. A washing line. Text consisting of a row of words written across a page or computer screen. The letter consisted of 3 short lines. Resist doing something. He refrained from hitting him back. Choose not to consume. The part of a song where a soloist is joined by a group of singers.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.